we're in their corner and on it because their local agent.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, you can be seated. Our guest speaker today is the Accessibility Coordinator and Coordinator of Veteran Services for Ohio University Southern. She is a 5-year veteran of the United States Air Force and served during the Gulf War. Please welcome Dr. Teresa McKenzie.
Good morning. We can do better than that. Good morning. Thank you. This morning, I'm not going to keep you here long, but I want to talk about something that I thought about and I think about all the time, the importance of detours and pivots in your life. So I want to tell you why that's important to me. I graduated from college in 1988, and then when I got out, I thought I should get a job making the money that I deserved because I had this fancy degree. I didn't make that money, and no one offered me all that money. So I joined the Air Force. And I enlisted. That was a pivot. That was a detour from what my original plan had been. The wonderful thing about that detour is it allowed me to get out of my hometown. My fear was that if I didn't do something, I was going to be stuck. I was going to be like they told me I would be as a kid. My mom had me when she was 16 as a single mom. All my life, all I heard was, you're going to be just like your mama. You're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to go anywhere. I knew after I got my degree and I didn't get a job, if I did not leave home, I wasn't going to go anywhere. So I joined the Air Force. It was the best decision I ever made. That was my first pivot, my first detour. So when I joined the Air Force, my job, my AFSC, Air Force Specialty Code, was supply. Did you know that? Originally, I was assigned to supply. But when I was in basic training, I got sick. I got a respiratory infection. And I went to the infirmary, and the doctor started asking me questions about what I wanted to do about me, and I mentioned I had a degree. And he said, in what? I said, in psychology. He said, anything else? I said, yeah, I have a minor in guidance and counseling. He said, well, why are you in supply? I said, because that was the fastest way to get out. And so he said, I don't think I want you to stay there. I'm going to make some calls. So he made a call to Wilford Hall Medical Center. The next day I went over and met with the director of the inpatient psychiatry unit, and they switched my AFSC to inpatient psychiatry. Best decision ever. Another pivot. Remember the importance of pivots. Sometimes those pivots that you have in your life get you to where you want to be. Maybe not the way that you want to be and what way you plan to get there, but they will get you there. So I joined the Air Force, changed my job, did the job that I wanted to do when I was in college, and I absolutely loved it. I ended up traveling all over. My first assignment was in California, Travis Air Force Base. It was so far from North Carolina, where I grew up from. It was wonderful. It was 5 hours away on a plane, so I knew my family would not just show up. That was important. I absolutely loved it. I learned so much. When I was there, I was a super troop. That's what we call them in the Air Force, and I was promoted below the zone. I did everything right. And so I was there for about a year, and I decided it's time for me to move on. So I decided I wanted to see part of the world. So I changed my dream sheet, and I got orders to Germany. And this is in July, August of '91. So just before the wall came down in Germany and just before the first Gulf War. So I ended up going overseas to Germany, and I loved it. I traveled, I did all the things that I knew I would never have been able to do without that pivot in my life, that detour. So again, detours are important. I want you to understand that even if something changes or something stops you from meeting your goal, getting your dream, that's not the end of it, and it shouldn't be the end of it. I want you to keep going forward, keep doing something else. So after the Gulf War, it was decided that mission was accomplished and some bases needed to close. Unfortunately, my base was one of the ones that needed to close, so I had to go back to stateside. I ended up at Andrews Air Force Base where I met my husband, and decided that that was my last time. So I finished out my enlistment, and I had extended to go overseas, and I got out. When I got out, because of my experience in the Air Force, I immediately had a job, doing what I had wanted to do when I graduated from college, paying me what I wanted when I graduated from college. So my 5 years was not wasted. I saw some things, I met some people, I have new family now. All the people on this stage who are veterans, I feel a connection to them instantly. Being a veteran means that I'm never alone. Means that if I go somewhere and I see another veteran, I can start talking to them, and we can relate. Sometimes we get a little distracted and we start talking in acronyms, and nobody else around us will understand what we're talking about, but that's okay. I want you to understand it's the detours and the pivots that got me here. So now I live here. I work at Ohio University Southern. I work directly with veteran students. It's the best job ever. That was not my original plan. My original plan was to work in mental health for the rest of my life. But working in higher ed, working with veteran students, working with students who have disabilities, best job ever. And without the military, I would not be where I am today. So I'm here to tell you, don't let those pivots, those detours, those little oopsie moments stop you from getting your goals. Don't let those things change your mind. If you have something you want, find another way around. Find that detour to get to what you want. Again, this was not where I started out or what I wanted to be, but this is where I am, and I am so very proud to call myself an Air Force veteran. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. McKenzie. I would now like to recognize the members of our staff here at Collins Career Center that have served in the armed forces. We have Danny French, Army. Billy Roberts, Army. Steve White, Navy. Richard Joseph, Army National Guard. And Tommy Weaver, Army. I would also like to thank the members of the Sims Valley Veterans Organization for participating in our Veterans Day ceremony. It's these valiant men and women seated behind me. We have Mr. Timothy Carpenter, Army. Tom Bowman, Army. Barbara Bowman, Army. Ben Walker, Air Force. Matt Jenkins, Army. Randy Harper, Navy. And Joe Benning, Coast Guard. We also have some wonderful students here at Collins Career Center that have already enlisted and have dates when they are planning on committing to the military service. I have those young men and women up here on the stage with me, and I'm very proud to announce them. We have Scott Poole, Navy. Zach Trent, Army. Nathaniel Woodyard, Marines. Peyton Booth, Marines. And Hannah Patrick, Army. We will now have the Sims Valley veterans do a flag folding ceremony officiated by Mr. Ben Walker.
Good morning. The flag folding ceremony represents the same principles on which the freedoms of our proud country were originally founded. The portion of the flag denoting honor is the canton of blue containing the stars representing the states of our veterans of all generations who served in uniform. The canton field of blue dresses from left to right and is inverted when draped as a pall on the casket of a veteran who has served our country in uniform and made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our freedoms. In the armed forces of the United States, retreat accompanies the securing of the American flag. It signals the end of the duty day and provides an opportunity for honoring the flag, taking pride in rendering proper respect, and to recognize the freedom it stands for. At the ceremony of retreat, the flag is lowered, folded in a triangle fold. The red and white stripes are folded into the blue like the light of day vanishing into the darkness of night, and is kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's honored dead. The next morning, it is brought out, and the ceremony of reveille, signifying the start of the duty day, the flag is run aloft as a symbol of our belief in the resurrection of the body.
First fold. In honor of the 13 original colonies and our forefathers who founded this great nation, we salute you. The second fold. To the men who died in the war for independence, we salute you. The third fold. To those men who fell in the War of 1812 to preserve our freedom, we salute you.
The fourth fold. To the brave soldiers on both sides, the North and the South, in the Civil War, we salute you. The fifth fold. To those who shed their blood in the name of hope and freedom in the Great War of World War I, we salute you.
The sixth fold. For those who have gone before us and died in the terrible battles of World War II, we salute you. The seventh fold. To the men who fell during the conflict and those who continue to serve in Korea, we salute you.
The eighth fold. For the brave men and women of our armed forces who died on the fields of fire in Vietnam, whose names will live on forever on that hallowed wall, we salute you. The ninth fold. For our servicemen and women that served honorably during Desert Storm, we salute you. The 10th fold. For those who lost their lives in the horrific terrorist acts of September 11th, we salute you.
The 11th fold. To the parents and families who love, support, and respect our military, we salute you. The 12th fold. To the men and women of our armed forces, the arsenal of democracy and the hammer of freedom, who are currently serving in our armed forces, we salute you. The 13th fold. Lastly, to freedom, because without freedom there is no honor. Without honor, we are not Americans, and on this we vow that as long as the flag flies, we salute you.
We will conclude the ceremony with the firing of the volley and the playing of taps in remembrance of our veterans that have passed, in honor of those that are with us now, and in hopes for the next generation.